The race to dominance in AI is hot and heavy, with many competitors to Tesla making big moves. First, Elon Musk announced that with Tesla's Robotaxi and autonomous vehicles, this will not be the biggest transfer of wealth in human history, but rather it'll be the biggest creation of wealth in human history. The pie will become much larger, the opposite of a zero-sum game. Second, Elon replied, he's very concerned that Nvidia just announced an investment of up to $100 billion in OpenAI and a strategic partnership to build at least 10 gigawatts of AI data centers. Why is Nvidia doing this, and what will this mean for Elon's XAI and Tesla? Elon replied, confirming that he will still be the first to 10 gigawatts, 100 gigawatts, and 1 terawatt of coherent compute. The key word here is coherent. We have photos of the build-out of Tesla's Cortex 2, which should be one of the top supercomputers in the world when complete, making great progress and moving fast. Third, Nissan has announced a partnership with Wave Technologies to deliver ProPilot, its version of full self-driving, a rideshare service not coming until 2027 or 2028. We've got Joe Bakhti here with us today. He's an economist and tech entrepreneur. He has a YouTube channel covering both Tesla and AGI. Check out his website and community at pioneerlands.net. Welcome, Joe.
Good to be here. It's the age of AGI. I couldn't believe that Nvidia deal. I posted some things about it, so it's very interesting.
Okay. Be curious. This is scary for Tesla XAI, but Elon kind of initially said it's concerning, and then he came back and says, no, we're still going to somehow be the leader in this space. That's good news. So first, let's start off with, this move to Robotaxi and autonomy. Tesla, this guy says, this week I just dropped another $50,000 into Tesla stock. The majority of our population does not know what's about to happen. As Elon said, this will be the biggest transfer of wealth in human history. Tesla will run autonomy. And Elon replied to him, said, not transfer of wealth, creation of wealth. The pie will get much larger, the opposite of a zero-sum game. Joe, you've been talking about this a lot, right? It's a creation of wealth that's about to be happening.
Well, but of course, Elon is, partially right. It's mostly a creation of wealth game. So we will 10x, 100x, 1000x GDP and wealth in the age of AGI. But the cyber surfer, whatever his name was, is still right. Of course, there is a massive also percentage transfer of wealth. I mean, we have to be, very clear-eyed on this. It's going to be an enormous shift in power. And of course, Elon will be the number one, benefiting entity from that. That doesn't mean that everyone who's somehow involved is going to be much, much richer after, but in relative terms, Elon might be even richer. So yes, there will be a massive transfer of wealth, but it's definitely not a zero-sum game. But if you're missing out on AGI, you will have a huge problem. I'm warning people of that, because in the future, capital will become even more important. It's the magic economic formula, economic output equals capital multiplied with labor, multiplied with technology. And that formula will change. It will become all capital multiplied with reality engineering skills, the ability to see the future and deploy the capital. So it becomes more capital. But capital is very central, and labor will be worthless, will be replaced with reality engineering skills, which is like understanding, predicting, and deploying. And engineering a little bit. And technology, interestingly enough, we have to understand technology from an economics perspective. Technology will also be evaporated into capital, because you can just buy technology with capital, which you couldn't before. You needed the technology back in the days and then multiply with capital. Now we just press a button, say, I want this, and then the technology gets invented. So this is all very interesting, and both things can be true. Right? There will be massive new wealth creation, massive by many magnitudes over what we have now. But that doesn't mean it's equally distributed, Elon. Of course, Elon knows that. He's just not emphasizing that on tweets, because it's not to his benefit to say, yeah, I will own everything. So I think both things can be true. Elon is definitely half right. He doesn't tell you the other half. I'm telling you, you need to be Tesla shareholder. You need to be Nvidia shareholder. You need to be maybe Bitcoin, crypto. You need to be in these central assets that will appreciate exponentially with AGI. Because if you're not, there will be a problem.
Okay, well, let's explore that further, because that's where I'm trying to figure it out, right? Like Nvidia, how does Tesla become still the XAI become the leader in the space when Nvidia is investing 100 billion in OpenAI and
Well,
a
first of
strategic
all, we have to
partnership.
understand this whole first. Let's start there because I just
Yeah.
posted
Let,
something
let
about
me let me report on it first, and then you can give your info. So this was dropped yesterday, right? OpenAI and Nvidia announced strategic partnership to deploy 10 gigawatts of Nvidia systems, which is weird, by the way. I got to ask you about that. It's like Nvidia's been investing in companies that then's going to buy their product. So not only did they announce that they're going to deploy 10 gigawatts, but they're going to invest $100 billion. So this is, yeah, here we go. Invest up to $100 billion. See it down here if you read this. Strategic partnership enables OpenAI to build and deploy at least 10 gigawatts of AI data centers with NVIDIA systems, representing millions of GPUs for OpenAI's next-gen AI infrastructure. NVIDIA intends to invest up to $100 billion in OpenAI progressively as each gigawatt is deployed. The first gigawatt of NVIDIA systems will be deployed in the second half of next year, 2026. So you're gonna buy my chips. I'm gonna give you money so you can buy more of my chips. I'm gonna give you more money so you can buy more of my chips. But they basically chose OpenAI. So this guy says NVIDIA is giving OpenAI money to invest into more NVIDIA GPUs at each gigawatt. First, why is NVIDIA tilting the scale in OpenAI's favor in the AI race? I thought he was best friends with Elon. Elon had first dibs. Second, why is Jensen making deals with players to buy more of his products? This is rather alarming. And Elon said concerning. He was concerned. I was concerned about this when he said that. Then this guy says, what does this mean for XAI? Are we cooked? And he replies saying, well, just as we will be the first to bring a gigawatt of coherent training compute online, we will also be the first to 10 gigawatts, 100 gigawatts, 1 terawatt. So I guess that's good. That's good. Makes me feel good that Elon still believes he will be the first to these milestones. But where is he going to get the NVIDIA chips if NVIDIA is basically giving it for free to OpenAI? What's going on?
Because I'm looking into I'm still super focused on Tesla, but I was always also focused on crypto, by the way. So my portfolio is pretty split, but I want to have concentrated diversification and exposure to AGI, right? That's what I want. And I was always looking into semiconductors. I think they're the only additional thing you need I'm not going to go into portfolio strategy too much, but these semiconductors are very important. So first of all, to understand what the difference is between XAI and OpenAI in the strategy and the needs for compute, I will talk about this in a second. Before we do that, what about this deal? Why is NVIDIA doing this? Mm-hmm. And when it comes to business, everything starts with finance. We have to understand the finance behind it. So if NVIDIA does that, and let's say it's about 5 million GPUs and they make roughly 35K in margin per GPU, you're basically dealing with something like $150 billion in margin for NVIDIA, right? You have to understand this. Let's say that happens over 3 years, roughly, to make it simple. And look into net margin. So we cut it basically by 3, we have 50 billion per year, and then the net that flows into the bottom line, into EBITDA, is roughly 25 billion, right, per year for 3 years. So what does it mean? So it means that NVIDIA added 25 billion to its EBITDA, starting in something 26, 27, over 3 years, each year, at a PE ratio of currently 50.
I know. The stock jumped already $100 billion just after they announced this.
Yeah, but this is right. But we have to understand exactly what it means. If you have a PE ratio of 50, right, price earnings of 50, which NVIDIA has, and you're adding 25 billion, then you just added roughly $1.25 trillion to your market cap. Mm-hmm. So basically, Jensen bought 1.25 trillion in market cap with 100 billion. That's a very good deal, if you ask me. I mean, I would do this all day long if I could. So, so we have to understand it's not just, they give the money and they give money back. No, it's about details. It's about the quantities of money. So basically, if you have a company that's worth whatever, 4 trillion, and you can add 25% to the total value of the company, 1.25 trillion, by giving someone 100 billion, you do that. It's that simple. And why OpenAI? Because OpenAI are the only ones who are able and willing to do that deal, maybe other than XAI. And so they're doing the deal with them. Okay? So it all comes down to numbers. It's very straightforward. 100 billion in exchange for 1.5 trillion, 1.25 trillion. That's just a no-brainer for Jensen. For OpenAI, it's a no-brainer because they get 100 billion. That's pretty good. And finally, what about XAI versus OpenAI? There's something very interesting I want to point out that, ties directly into my prediction of the AGI future and the nature of intelligence and how it evolves right now. Basically, there are two strategic pathways how intelligence evolves, and they will be both true and in parallel. But companies have different strategies, and OpenAI emerges more and more to have a different strategy than XAI on the technical level. And I think it's a very smart strategy, but XAI is also smart. The XAI strategy is training. XAI wants to have the world's smartest model, the highest IQ model, Grok 5, 6, 7. Why do they want that? Because Elon has plans. He wants physics, he wants discovery, he wants this kind of stuff. And he thinks raw intelligence is maybe the most important building block. And of course, strategically, he's correct. Now, if you want to train these models, you need coherent clusters. And that is something where Tesla, or XAI and Elon have a kind of more and more monopoly. They know how to do these things, and OpenAI does not know how to. Oracle doesn't know it. They all don't know it. But they're not dumb. They know they don't know it, and they know they can't compete with XAI. So what is the other path to super intelligence? Well, the other path is inference. And people do not understand this yet. The core components, these LLMs and whatever comes next, is basically it's not even a brain. It's like a component of a brain. It's like your little piece of frontal cortex. And Elon wants vastly the smartest piece of frontal cortex. But what Sam is building and focusing on is more the entire brain. And what that means is, it's not even a brain. Like, imagine you had 140 IQ employees, and you could buy these employees for $40 a month, and you could buy as many as you want if you have enough inference. What would you do? Well, you need to start piping them together and making them work together and being intelligent. And is it better to have one 200 IQ employee or 1,140 IQ employees? Like, no one knows. It depends what they do. And we know from humans that no 150 IQ human can beat 1,120 IQ humans intellectually. It's just not possible. And inference does not have that problem. You can build Oracle centers all over the world and ramp up your inference like insane. And what I see with OpenAI is they are much better than Grok in these piping situations, basically prompting and agent systems in the back end that make this highly effective intelligence. So, of course, it is, they both can steal their stuff, right? If Grok is super intelligent, you can distill models out of that and also increase your intelligence. And Grok can basically steal the whatever they do, the inference piping brain can also leak over to Grok. So I think both are very important and both can be partially stolen and copied. But these are the two paths. You want core components that are hyper intelligent that Elon will absolutely dominate. And the other thing is you want to learn how to use these atoms of intelligence to create true deep intelligence, where I think OpenAI has the lead right now. So that informs the hardware strategy. OpenAI does not need coherent systems because they just need endless amounts of inference. That's also in line with demand.
But that's what Tesla's doing too. That's Tesla's goal, not XAI's goals, what you just said, but Tesla's goal is inference dominance and inference.
Not in the same way. First of all, that's not XAI, that's Tesla. So Tesla's goal is to have massive inference in the embodied AI systems. Right? That's different from inference for your use in ChatGPT. Right? So these are different designs.
Data centers. Okay, gotcha.
Right. Data centers.
I don't know. But Elon has said inference is going to be used for both training and edge computing. So it's going to be,
but I think, it's a little hand wavy. I think when it comes down to the details, building a massive inference data center is just not the same thing as a massive training center. It's just completely different, the architecture, in my opinion. You can't just exchange and swap them randomly, like if they're truly optimized. So the same is true for Optimus. Like Optimus is inference, but has nothing to do with a ChatGPT request. So these are three different things. embodied inference versus data center super Oracle inference versus XAI super training centers. And this all matters because you're building massive infrastructure. So I'm not saying anyone wins here. I think they're all winning. But I'm saying, my point. I think OpenAI is underestimated by the Tesla crowd.
For sure. I do think, though, that I'm concerned where is Elon going to get his Nvidia chips that he absolutely needs. I guess this deal does not mean he won't get it.
Here's another thing I stumbled upon during my research that is not completed yet into semiconductors. You basically have four major companies here competing. One is an outlier, Intel, because Intel sucks, but they have some, if they pull some miracles off, they could be very important, but they are not important right now. The other three are Nvidia, followed by AMD, which is underestimated. AMD is very aggressive and they're not dummies and they're making good progress on inference. And Broadcom. And Broadcom's business model is basically custom, vertically integrated things with Amazon, with hyperscalers, including potentially XAI and Elon, right? Broadcom is always an option, but they're only doing mega deals where you commit to Broadcom and develop your own kind of chip. Plus Samsung or Tesla, I don't know how competitive they are with Broadcom, but that's kind of the situation. And strategically, I do not think that we are looking at a world where NVIDIA just keeps dominating this completely. I think these three are serious companies. I think NVIDIA has a lead, but AMD is working day and night, and they're not bad in getting inference out. And the main advantage of AMD, CUDA, I think is going away because of AI.
That's NVIDIA's main advantage.
Right. So NVIDIA, basically the hardware of these other chips is very, very good, AMD and Broadcom. But the problem is, NVIDIA's might be even better a little bit, but it's also more expensive. But NVIDIA's real edge is CUDA. So when you have these GPUs, these complicated chips, you need to put software on the chips and you need operating systems for that kind of, to make it simple. And CUDA is the world's standard operating system where everything is written on.
Yeah. So
if you have not that, AMD just lags behind all the time. So if you handle AMD, it's just worse, everything, right? Broadcom is a little different because they only work with Amazon and Microsoft and Google, and they write their own code for themselves. So they don't need CUDA because it's custom vertically integrated and the code is written by the same people ordering the chips. So that's kind of the setup of these three. But AMD, in the end, AI, ironically, can make a big difference in narrowing the CUDA gap because CUDA is just
Hopefully
software.
You're right. Yeah, it's just software. I hope you're right that AMD becomes a serious competitor. But even Elon decided to drop Dojo because NVIDIA is just so much better. And they thought that they were going to surpass NVIDIA. That didn't.
We should not, I always say that. I'm a big Elon fan, but Elon is not Jesus. I don't even know how good Jesus is.
That's what I said. That's what I'm saying.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, yes, but you're implying because Elon can't compete against NVIDIA, AMD cannot compete against NVIDIA. It's different. AMD is vastly more competent than the Tesla team because it's a giant semiconductor company. So
okay.
I take them very seriously. And there's Broadcom. And, in order to have Broadcom chips in your AI setup, you need very heavy serious software development capabilities like Google, for example. That's why they can use Broadcom. But the hardware is not the problem. They are highly competitive with NVIDIA on hardware and costs. It's the software, and the software by definition has to shrink in advantage because of AI. That's my theory. I think NVIDIA is a tremendous company. I think NVIDIA will not give up their lead. But given this whole insane demand, there is at least space for these three to really grow like crazy, which is good for supply.
It would have been awesome if NVIDIA made that deal with XAI. Okay, but Elon confirmed he still believes that he'll be first at 10 gigawatts before these guys do it, which is like next year, OpenAI and NVIDIA.
And you also have to, one last thing, because it's my favorite topic. Jensen, it's not, the world doesn't evolve just around Elon. You have very serious, very smart people. Most people don't like Sam Altman, and other people like Jensen Huang. They are not dummies. And Jensen he likes Elon, but he likes everyone. And he wants to keep liking everyone because it's like nation states. If you're Germany in 1910, and France becomes your friend, you make sure that the Brits also don't get too weak because you need to play them against each other. And Jensen doesn't want to give all the power to Elon.
Yep,
And I think
that's
this is
what it
also
says.
a bet to mitigate, to
Yeah.
keep them all like in line a little bit.
Yeah, Elon's superiority is started to show up, and then people got worried. What's going to happen to OpenAI? So here comes Jensen saying, "Hey, I'll prop you up." Yeah, very
And
good
it's really,
analysis.
that's how people
Yeah.
have to think about it. The new world will be split up not between nations, but between these companies.
Yeah.
Tesla, Nvidia, OpenAI, Microsoft, and so
Yeah,
on.
the
They
new
will
nation
rule the world.
states.
And
Yeah.
they already think like that. So they're all working together, but they watch each other very closely. That's why I always point out to Zuckerberg and these people. These are all little rulers and dictators and kings, including Elon. And
Yeah.
Elon is the leader. And the others are concerned. They want to balance the field. That's why I'm also getting more bullish on figure one, not because I think they can actually beat Optimus, but because there will be a lot of effort put into not letting them fail.
Making sure that there's a second or third.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then Zuckerberg's like pouring billions, 100 billion and so forth. And he just said, money's not an object. We need to play in this field. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
And I mean, they will, and that's the power game. It's like Bismarck. These people will support each other. Everyone will support the weakest chain link because they don't want that to drop out. If Zuckerberg gets very weak, he will get support to some extent, and so on.
Yeah. Makes sense. Good
So it's
analysis.
very interesting. This is a power game.
So Tesla and XAI are still doing very well. And this was an interesting thing. We need to follow it closely to understand where this goes. Cortex 2, this is Tesla's supercomputer. Joe Tegmar follows it closely. You can see that it's developing very nicely, right? Here's the building. It's already there. It's very large. This is going to be where the supercomputer comes up, another one. And you can see that they've started the interior work and they started to put in a new electronic cabinetry and equipment has arrived. So these things are all there now. So this is happening fast. These guys move fast. It really is who can build the biggest computers fast, who can build the factories fast, who can build the, set up data centers fast. And that's the advantage Tesla has. As long as they don't have a bottleneck of not having the chips that they want. And this is where Elon has announced AI6 inference chips that's going to replace, he thinks that the training chips and the inference chips will merge into one. And I think he's right. And that's why he's doubling down on that. And so by 2026, next year, maybe he won't need Nvidia as much as we think he might. We'll see.
We'll see. I don't totally buy that, by the way. Here's my prediction. I don't think, when Elon says something, I never know what he really believes and what he's just saying. But I think from a architecture and technology point of view, AI6 is clearly primarily aimed at Cyber, Cap, and Optimus. I mean, that's the main job. Someone has to supply these chips. And the advantage of having custom inference chip for these with training capability, edge training, whatever, is hugely important. It gives Tesla enormous advantages. So that's very smart. But to say that's going to replace Nvidia in data centers for XAI makes no sense, in my opinion. So I think it is an enormous power move for controlling autonomy and robots, which might be very decisive. But the idea this thing can then compete in data centers makes no sense.
But this is Elon, right? So let's hope he's right, but let's hope he's serious.
Well, but I think it's not realistic, and that means other things. I think it means Elon probably, depending how XAI moves, I think for Elon, the whole inference in data center topic is not top of mind because he's focused on Optimus, on autonomy, and on intelligence, on internal intelligence to beat everyone in terms of physics and stuff like that. I think the consumer product Grok is not his top priority right now.
And I gotta disagree with you there.
You think it is?
Yeah. Everything his top priority is all AI. When he gave you his weekly where he's going, it's all AI. It's all AI.
I'm not saying it's not AI, but I'm saying it's robots, it's autonomy, and it's kind of cybernetic organism AI. It's like AI he wants for himself, which is a different design of AI. Yeah. He wants an AI that runs Tesla, that knows everything, that can invent physics. That's what Elon is really excited about. Not to have a consumer and enterprise product that has the best UX that makes Microsoft happy or something. It's not his thing right now.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Which is a different, it has implications. I think Elon has these three things. He wants to control autonomy, of course, with the AI6 chips and robots. And the vision of AI, core AI, is very different from Sam's. His vision of core AI is his own core AI. He wants a true superior intelligence. So he can do everything. He can run Tesla differently. He can do all kinds of manufacturing. He can invent science. But that's different from saying we want to beat OpenAI when we compete for enterprise contracts to go in and read Google Docs. It's just a different thing. It requires a very different setup.
Okay.
But it will become important.
I have to think that through. Yeah.
I think it will become
the same thing or totally different things. Yeah.
And what that means is that the inference design, like these chips that you need for massive Oracle data centers, are totally not on Elon's agenda, because this is not a product vertical he's thinking too much about. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Another competitor to Tesla's FSD is this company called Wave. Yesterday, they announced that they received $400 million they have a letter of intent from Nvidia. Nvidia says, okay, Wave. The interesting thing about Wave is they're in London, but they are basically following Elon. This is vision cameras and neural nets, no LiDAR. And today, Nissan announced that they've got a partnership with Wave. Their version is going to be called ProPilot. It's going to rival Tesla's driver assist technology, it says here. Their next gen ProPilot, the ProPilot's been around since 2016 or something like that, but it's just, the standard, I'm just going to stay in the highway kind of lane kind of stuff. Now this is what they're expecting it to go. And they don't expect to do a rideshare service. They keep saying fiscal year 2027, which I think is actually March 2028 when they'll do that. So, we think ours is smarter than Tesla FSD, sure. Just not as polished as a product, says Nissan. The question is Nissan even going to be around by 2026? They are in dire straits. I think this is just one of those things that they announced. But these prototype vehicles, 11 cameras, 5 radar, and a next-gen LiDAR sensor. But in the future, they won't have the LiDAR anymore. And let me play a little clip that they talked about just to show you, their announcement. There's nothing here, so I'm going to turn it off. Yeah, they're just saying, crap. It's going to be good. It's going to be wonderful. That's about it.
Well, but again, I think one of the most useful things to understand, I just came up with that last week, this paradigm, that you're not dealing with companies anymore. You're dealing with new colonial powers. And these colonial powers will take over Earth. Well, colonial powers. If you're the British Empire and the French or the Germans, right, grab a piece of Africa and you have your other pieces of Africa. And there's a little tribe in the middle that says, ooh, we need a lot of money and some muskets, but we are willing to, follow the crown. What are you going to, you're not going to say, oh, you suck. Like, have you seen the germs? You say, no, great. Here's the muskets. Now you're part of Britain, because you want to balance the power, right? You want to push, you want to make sure, you make them fight and see where the other guys are. And so you see a pattern here. Why is Nvidia doing that? They're doing it with OpenAI and they're doing it with Nissan because they're doing
it with the robot companies too. They've got 11 other humanoid robot companies that they're funding and
they
supporting.
Don't want Tesla to dominate everything, and it doesn't matter if they're weak or stupid. And that's, I would not underestimate it, because there's SoftBank, it's Japan, it's Nissan, SoftBank, whatever. There's a lot of interest here, and all these old OEMs are so weak and pathetic that it's also easy to keep them alive when they become AI relevant. You could focus on one of the Japanese and say, oh, let's keep Nissan alive. Between SoftBank and Nvidia, it's peanuts, right? You just keep them alive and turn them into that. So this is not just a free market thing where Tesla is just the best and beats them. They can be the best and not beat them because there's unfair support, because it's about strategic maintenance of your beachheads. So this is a very interesting situation. We have to understand this goes beyond just some products and some competition.
I love it. Good analysis. Yeah, I'm not so worried about competition, right? I mean, it's great. What matters is Tesla needs to execute. I'm trying to do my own calculations of when do you think, let's say, the human or robot. Tesla makes Optimus. When do you think that they would, if there's a really good competitor out there, and assume that there will be, that they will, like, there's a company that they want to sell to, and the company says, I'm not going to choose you. I'm going to choose the other one. When do you think that that becomes, I'm going 10 million robots, maybe 100 million robots? Like Tesla could make 10 million robots, and another company could make 10, and another company could make 10, and none of them ever actually meet the same customer and lose a customer because they'd rather choose one or the other. There's just so many customers out there. I don't think that they're going to
again,
get
I
into
think
that
it's
stage.
I don't
Same
want to
thing with
stress this too
autonomous
much, but it's
driving.
like the colonial. It's like saying when you go to Thailand, right? At what point are you starting the negotiations with Thailand that they join the British Empire, not the French? Like you don't say, well, but there's so many countries. Who cares? You care
No,
about
there's
every
not that many
single.
countries though. The countries is like 100 plus. We're talking about how many companies will actually need to buy a robot. You know what I mean? Like when Tesla's making 10 million robots, the demand is over 100 to
No,
200
but
million of
it
these.
is a little bit
Yeah.
like the countries because you have to think from top down. It's about who gets Walmart and then who gets Target. So once you have retail, you fight over the biggest retail. Once you have agriculture, there are only 5 super agriculture business, and they will hedge their bets. They're like, well, we do a deal with Figure One and with we are not gonna just become dependent on Tesla because they understand. You become highly dependent. Like if you just Optimus and all your employees, imagine you're one of these companies and all your employees are now Optimus. There's an enormous
Yeah, but
dependency.
the value of a robot is so high that every bot that Tesla makes, every bot that most of these are robot, they will be bought. So
It's
yeah,
true,
you're
but
right.
Herbert,
Walmart might
I
buy
think we
3
have to
different
put
humanoid robots, but it's not
we have to,
like Tesla will no longer, oh, I've got 10 million robots waiting that I couldn't sell, or even Figure can't sell 10 million
you are
robots or
right
something
on
like that.
this side. There will be unlimited demand and we are getting very
Yeah.
rich as shareholders. But I'm saying is that the clients, this is not just about products anymore. This is about power. And you want to hedge your bets. If you're
Sure.
BMW anyway,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if even
Yeah.
Walmart, they will say, well, let's do both for
Then,
3.
then you're
And
arguing my argument, which is there won't be competition. You will sell. This Tesla will sell what they got. Figure will sell what they have. The Chinese robot will sell what they have, and then Walmart might have 3 of them, 3
well, there will
versions of
be a
them.
different sort of competition. There will be not competition over margins. They will all drown in endless amounts of cash, but there will be competition over power. That Tesla says we want strategically at least block all the Chinese from coming into America, then we deal with Figure One
Sure.
and things like
Yeah.
that. But it's
Sure.
not going to be in any way a
It's going to
scarcity
be
over profits thing. They will have endless amounts of
for
profits.
at least 5 years. I'm not saying forever. I'm not saying there's no competition. I'm just saying that this idea that competition's coming not for 5 years or even 10 years, like
No,
the
I wouldn't
demand is
call
so
it,
high.
a competition in the sense that we have to be worried as shareholders on margin. Definitely not. But it's going
Yeah.
to be land grabbing because there is kind of limited lands. All the other companies, and they need to be converted into
Not
embodied
for
AI
human or
companies.
robots, maybe for autonomy, but even then, I don't think so. We'll see. There's always room for Pepsi's not the only one, right? There's like a million different beverages. Same thing with Uber. Uber owns most of it, but there's still Lyft and a bunch of other small ones everywhere. Same thing with iPhones. You think that Apple's iPhone would have dominated, but no. Now there's like 3
I
big
think
ones. The
we
Chinese Huawei is like a third largest, in fact, it's the second largest handset maker at this point.
I think we disagree only on because we are not clear on the levels. You're basically saying there will be no competition over any kind of volume sales, right? Because there will be endless amounts of volumes. I agree, but there will be very instantaneously already now competition on a power level. That Elon says, don't let Sam Altman in here, or don't let this guy
Oh
in here,
yeah,
and then they're going
maybe.
to fight.
Maybe. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
They're going to
There's
hate
no
each
doubt to
other
me that.
very early on.
Yeah. Okay, that part I get, but I'm just
There will
thinking
be
of
fighting. I wouldn't call it like fighting. There will be lots of
yes,
fighting.
for sure. I get where you're going there. Yeah, I just saying that people concerned. I just look at Tesla and I think Tesla will succeed, and then I look at competitors, but I'm not as worried about competition until maybe 10 years from now, like 7,
Yeah, I'm
5
definitely
plus
not
years.
worried about competition in the sense as a shareholder on cash flows. That's not
That's what
an
I'm saying.
issue. But there
Yeah,
will be a
Tesla will
lot of
grow.
deadly fighting,
Yeah, there will be.
nasty fighting.
And then the countries, right? China is going to shut down maybe shut down Tesla's Robotaxi there. I asked this guy and he said, no, he doesn't think that they will. But we know that the US is going to shut down, any Chinese Robotaxi here
I
or
think
robots
I
here.
think China will do the usual China thing. I think they will absolutely boost Tesla until they're really
so
good.
that they can build. Yeah.
And then they steal
and
it
kick them out at that point. Yeah. That's the trick is if Tesla doesn't leapfrog yet one more time, but that's what they do. I create EVs. Oh, our EV industry now is as good as that Tesla EV. We can kick Elon out. Oh, but Elon's now creating autonomy. Okay, let's keep him there for a while. Let's teach all of our guys to do the same autonomy. And 4 Chinese companies are now copying Elon, which is great. And then they go, okay, we've got autonomy now. If Elon doesn't come up with the next one, right?
Chinese
boring
thing. They
tunnels.
want to suck in development and boost China, and that's exactly how it works. But Elon doesn't mind, then he invents a new thing. And he gets trillions and trillions of boost during that 10 years where he does it. So it's a win-win. But yeah, the Chinese in the end will take it. And then you have to...
If you stay as a commodity, that's the point. Elon already knows. I just got to keep innovating and I'll be fine.
Yeah, and don't underestimate the value of 10 trillion in margins for 10 years. It's great. I mean, then you have to move on, but I mean, you got paid.
Creation of wealth. Thank you so much. This is great. A perfect person to talk to. You give a lot of thought to the age of AGI, what's going to happen, and you, especially this concern about Nvidia chips. That one, you shared a lot of information that I wanted to hear from your point of view. Thank you so much, Joe. And people, if you want to check out pioneerlands.net. This is the kind of conversation that he has and hosts there. It's the thing that you need to be talking about regularly at this point. I think there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You got to know more about it. Thank you, Joe. See you soon.
Thank you.
I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.